never do things. Said they never do things. No, they never do things. Oh, life hits you against the wall. Stand up, face it, be strong. You're not in it alone. I know. Gonna make it big. Don't let nobody break it. You just overcome. Life hits you against the wall. Stand up, face it, be strong. You're not in it alone. I know. Gonna make it. Don't let nobody break it. You just overcome, yeah.
Wake up, my brothers and sisters, we gotta get it. Nothing is what's expected and not enough we're given. Falling into the trust of the people. All limited options, although it's obvious, honestly, we don't see it. Someone who is inferior words by competition, so take a step back and recognize that basically greatness. I hate this. Trapped in our minds, when it's time to enlighten each other, they get to rise and love out all the lies against us. Nobody come. Time to rise up against the we get strong. Fight back with knowledge and love, you know they're liberator. Change that center, that level won't you pay them. Cause black is you, black is powerful, black is true. Undeniable, in spite of what they show in movies. We know that your children gotta admit it. And that's the stereotype. We don't gotta fit it. Break the rules, let's go your home. Break the rules, let's go your home.
Don't let nobody break it. You just overcome. Like it's you against the wall. Stand up, be strong. You're not in it alone. I know. Gonna make it. Don't let nobody break it. You just overcome, yeah. Keep your head to the sky.
Good evening, everyone. That was Cassandra Williams from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, an educator at Pittsburgh Creative and Performing Arts. That's her video, Wake Up. And as you can see, man, that was filmed right here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Today on the HBCU Power Hour, we have Mr. H.R. StClair from Prairie University. Yes, Prairie University, located in Prairie, Texas. We're going to have him on, but he's coming, but he's running a little late. So before he get here, we're just going to go ahead and play this video on Prairie University.
Shepherd, your current Director of Health and Safety, and we're bringing to you our very own Letting the Hill series. With Letting the Hill, we'll be exploring the Prairie A&M University. We'll be showing you important need-to-know locations, current COVID-19 guidelines, and also how do you become a productive Panther. So let's get into it. We are kicking off this series now with the Tipton Memorial Student Center, also known as the MSC. This is the heart of our university. It houses our campus bookstore, dining services, financial aid, registrar, and many important resources. However, due to COVID-19, if you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact us. Due to the MSC being so huge, we're going to be splitting this video up into two parts. Today, we're going to be starting with the first floor of the MSC. Before we get started, we wanted to honor those fallen Panthers that we have lost due to COVID-19. And to honor them, we ask that you remember to remain 6 feet apart, sanitize, and mask up. To adhere to CDC guidelines, we ask that if you mask up, to remember to keep it above your mouth and nose at all times. Thank you very much, and let's keep fighting Panthers. In the midst of the current pandemic, Prairie A&M University currently has a curative kiosk where students can receive free rapid oral testing. If you are interested, please go to the link below to sign up and make sure to bring your Panther ID. Thank you. Do you need a textbook for that difficult calculus class or some new Panther gear? The bookstore is where to be. However, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we are currently closed, but on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we are open from 10 to 2. Remember, hours are subject to change. If you have any questions or concerns, please contact the number below or the link. Are y'all hungry? Now let's go look in the cafeteria. So this is it, our MSC, our top 3 Sodexo dining options. One is our cafeteria, where students can use their Panther ID to get different meal swipes and use their Panther books. Current hours are 7 to 10 a.m., 11 to 12 p.m., and 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., Monday through Thursday. But hours are subject to change. Also, some more options is our Chick-fil-A and Panther Grill. Also, both hours are subject to change, but also students can use their Panther ID cards for meal points. Another MSC announcement. We would like everyone to know that masks are still mandatory and will be enforced while entering the MSC. So make sure that you are social distancing and keeping 6 feet apart and making sure the seats and tables stay intact. In the MSC, we have many other resources like our computer lab and game room. Also, we have many new amenities like our self-checkout lab station, our new temperature scan for COVID-19, our school supply filled vending machines, and our very own charging stations. Another resource that we have is auxiliary services, where you can get your meal plan, look at your Panther books, and also pick out your Panther ID. Another way to do this is using our Get Mobile app to do all of the same things, but virtually. Now this is where the magic begins. The Opal Johnson Auditorium. We house our biggest events throughout the school year in here, whether it's our presentations, our game nights, our CAB events, our PAL events, and also pageants. This auditorium currently holds over hundreds of people, but due to COVID-19, it is now reduced. So we ask that you work with us and the admin, because we are all figuring this out together. This is the second floor of the Memorial Student Center. It houses all of our biggest organizations and admins, including CAB, SGA, Office of Student Engagement, and our own lounges and suites. And now we're about to head to the CAB office. We're now in the CAB office, and I'm sitting here with Erin Haven. Hey Erin, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Erin Haven. I'm a senior mass communications major, minor in marketing. I'm currently the project manager of Campus Activities Board. This will be my 4th year in Campus Activities Board and my 3rd year on eBoard.
Thank you. What is the purpose of Campus Activities Board?
The purpose of Campus Activities Board is to create free events for students around campus. We have 5 committees in our organization, which are gaming and cinema, that creates events based on games and cinema, which is like movie nights. We have marketing and promotions, which creates majority of our marketing, sort of like these and hats and these masks. We also have Big Boy, which is over all of our lights, sounds, usually hump days. And then we also have specialties that creates events like girls versus boys, family feud, and lastly, we have concerts and lively arts. Concerts and lively arts basically focus on our poetry night, our in-person or online table talks, and just like that.
Thank you. Thanks so much. What's your favorite thing about being a Panther?
My favorite thing about being a Panther is being able to make friends and network with other Panthers just like me, and to be able to put on events with Campus Activities Board, and to do community services around the beautiful campus of Prairie and Enrollment.
All right, thank you so much. All right, on next to the SGA. Hey you all, now we're in the SGA office. I'm now speaking with Alana Gaskin, our president of the SGA. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Alana.
Hey everyone, I'm Alana Gaskin. I'm serving as the 2020-2021 Student Government Association President, and I'm a political science major, graduating this May.
All right. What is the purpose of the SGA?
The purpose of SGA, Student Government Association, is to provide the official voice for the student body, to advocate on the concerns that the student body may have, to voice their concerns to respective administration and faculty and staff, and to be the servants that they need here on campus while serving, preparing them academically, professionally, socially, once they graduate Prairie University.
Thank you so much. How do we contact the representatives of SGA when in anything?
So one way you can contact SGA is one through social media. We have a Twitter, Instagram, and a Facebook, so you can DM us anytime, or you can go to PV Calling and you can find the respective emails and phone numbers for the officials that are in SGA.
All right, lastly, so what's your favorite thing about being a Panther?
My favorite thing about being a Panther is networking with different students, different administrators, faculty and staff, the services, the activities, the experience, and the internships that we offer here at PVAMU. My favorite thing about being a Panther is being submerged in an intellectual space for liberation here at PVAMU.
Thank you so much.
Another amenity we have is our new student organization suite. It's in 219, and we can have it for logistic planning, collaborative space, and to store different materials for different organizations. Our student lounge area is available for students to take breaks in between classes and for students to connect with each other over passing periods. Okay, so now we're at the Office of Student Engagement, and we're going to have a quick conversation with Ms. Moore.
If you're interested in joining a student organization, my office is the first place you want to go. So please let us know if you have any questions. We're located on the second floor of the MSC. Also, to find out more information about student organizations, any other things that you want to know about my office is located on www.pvpolling.pvamu.edu. Please make sure you download CORE so that you'll know all of the current activities that are happening on campus. Again, if you want to reach us, follow us on social media at PVAMU_OSC for all of the events that are happening around campus. Can't wait to see you, Panthers.
That was Prairie View University. Now I'm going to bring you, if you are interested in going to Prairie View University, we got my man, H.R. StClair. Yeah.
What's going on, my brother? My apologies for the delay.
That's all. Hey, man, listen, I played an intro to one of our local artists. Wake Up. Man, I think I'm going to go ahead and play. You know, Mr. Brown can have that. My HBCU better than yours. I'm going to rock with the hometown girls, such Cassandra Williams.
Okay.
Yes. So listen, man. We had never had Prairie View to Pittsburgh, but we want to try to get you out here because everything is supposed to be hotter and bigger, and according to that video, finer in Texas.
Oh yeah, trust and believe. Even look, me
was looking good.
Look, me and my brothers would always talk about that at Grambling. Like, look, man, if we'd have known about Prairie View or Texas Southern, it might have been a change up in there, man.
Man, look, the only thing I know, I'm looking at them sisters, and the only thing I can think of is God is good.
All the time.
But check it out. Tell us the lowdown. We want to know the cost. We want to know the scholarships. We want to know, I know you're in the SWAC, and you know, my Alabama State, I cannot look here. You know what they say about college sports. You could be champions in every single sport, right? But if your football team is not producing, they don't look at none of your athletic programs.
And that's true, and it's kind of off. I always tell students, because of course that is the big money maker at universities across the country. But as of lately, and I'm proud to say, even our basketball team has always been contenders. They were actually the SWAC champions this current year. So it always goes back and forth between, of course, the usual SWAC basketball champions, our sister school, Texas Southern. So we've been having a pretty good run, both on the gridiron and on the parquet, I'm glad to say. So yeah, we're definitely
we had a few
win.
championships. No, don't have me go Google this. We had some championships.
Okay, well, in basketball or football, which one?
Basketball.
How many years?
So I got to go look, but I know there was a few times we went to March Madness.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, that's cool. But as of currently, it's come down to Texas Southern or either us these past couple of years. So there's always good competitiveness in the SWAC. Of course, you know as well as I do, we are the dominant HBCU conference out of all 4 HBCU's athletic conferences, especially with us being a 12-team operation now. So I'm definitely glad about that. And of course, in 2 weeks, we're heading to Jackson State to play Coach Prime and the Tigers for that big trophy. So, it's going to be, and it is exciting around campus. Right. And then I found out, I forgot all about it. We actually have Mississippi Valley at home Saturday. So it's going to be a pretty good weekend of football. We have Mississippi Valley at home on campus. And then, of course, Bayou Classic is this weekend. I'm a little disappointed I couldn't make it down there, but, and so it's going to be real live. But look, I'm going to make it, if you will allow your brother this opportunity. I came prepared, especially as one of the best recruiters or the best recruiter in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. I actually have my presentation that I show families, students, educational advocates as well. If you would permit me some moments to go ahead and show it, and then we can get into the questions and do like we do afterwards, if I had your permission.
Come on. Let's see, is there a way I'm supposed to make you the host or something? Let me see, how am I supposed to do that?
You might, let's see, because I'm gonna just try to share my screen and see what happens. I don't know if on StreamYard you have to make me a host, but let's see. Here we go.
Because I got that video you sent me. I already got that queued up.
Let's see.
Bear with us, folks.
All right. Can you see it, Vince?
No. Is it the video you sent me?
This is something else. This is our whole little presentation. One, but that's not the actual presentation. Now that is an awesome video.
It really is.
That is. And
yes. And I see them.
see, I got everything up.
Okay, let me see if this. There we go.
You saw the what?
All right. There we go.
All right, all right, let me see. It's loading up right quickity quick. So yeah, that way we can cover all of the bases and give your viewers everything that they need to see. Trying to get it on the full screen so they don't see all of the background. Okay, is the audio coming through for you?
Yeah, I can hear it.
You hear Jilly from Philly?
Jilly from Philly, yep.
All right, let me try to get it on full screen. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and let it rock the way it's supposed to, and just handle it the way we got it, my brother. All right, here we go. Now, for those of you that are viewing, this is the best way to get fresh information regarding Prairie View A&M University. Of course, the freshman brochure, and this is QR ready. We try to be technologically advanced at Prairie View, and of course, with this being the digital age, we know that the students, Vince, spend a lot of their times on their phones. So we made it where it's applicable to them, so they do have access to our social media tags when it comes to admissions. The freshman brochure is to the left, and of course, the transfer brochure is to the right. All right, here we go. You asked about Prairie View. Well, we're actually the second oldest public institution in the great state of Texas. We are part of the Texas A&M system, yet we do maintain our independence as one of the 9 HBCUs in the state of Texas. Yes, we do have over 9,500 students enrolled. And of course, the question that you and I always get as products when we're representing our HBCUs, what's the student to faculty ratio? And of course, the advantage lies on the side of the HBCUs, 18-1 at Prairie View. Now, I do want to make note that for the students coming in, usually around the board, your freshman and your sophomore year ratio is going to be a bit larger because you guys have to take all of the similar lower division courses, your English, your math, your science, and your other courses that you need to take as you matriculate. What is there to do at Prairie View? Vince, we got over 170 student organizations. And yes, you know, the question does come up. That does include the Divine Nine. Of course, the school colors, that royal purple and gold. Our mascot is, of course, Panther Pete and Miss Sasha, and we have the honor and the distinct privilege of having a history maker in her own right, Vince, Dr. Ruth Simmons, who is actually a native of Houston, Texas. Just to give you a quick backdrop of Dr. Ruth Simmons, she is our first African-American female president of Prairie View A&M University in the 146 years that we've been here. She was also the first African-American female president to preside over one of the Ivy League schools, Brown in particular, as she set that school on its mark where it's now actively being mentioned along with the Harvards and the Yales. And I tell parents and students alike, when they come to me, this is what they can expect at Prairie View. The same thing she did at Brown University and Ivy League school, she is doing at Prairie View. So, you know, we're proud of that fact. Let me see if I can get this next slide to come up. And it doesn't look like my stuff is responding for whatever reason, but we're going to make it do.
You got that dial up, don't you?
No, look, I actually, look, you see now it went to whole screen. I got that actual AT&T. I don't know if that's going to be a bad mark on them, but yeah, we will. So yeah, it's not even doing. Let me get on up out of this because it ain't, as the kids say, acting right. So yeah, see how yes, day late, dollar short. Uh-oh. Let me get out of this.
What is those requirements? Oh, we look like we're losing you, Mr. St. Clair. All right, it looked like we had lost Mr. St. Clair with that dial-up internet. So we got to go ahead and keep this show going. We got, come on, he's still dialing up. Come on. He's loading. Up. Come on back, Mr. St. Clair.
Am I back? Okay.
Okay.
Woo! It's acting up. Here we go.
Your audio's on, just not your video.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, I hear that band going on. Where do you think Prairie View rank in the top 10 for the best HBCU band, the best bands in the land?
Is that a trick question?
No, it's not a trick question.
Okay, because you know.
I tell you what, I even give me your top 5. Start with number 5.
All right, let me give you my top 5. Let me get this thing off the screen now. And the reason I asked, because the latest poll just came out.
I want to hear your poll. Because when it comes to the top 5, in my opinion, I don't think Prairie View had never been in my top 5 when it comes to the marching band.
Oh, let me get out of this because it just blanked out. All right, yeah, I'm back. Having severe technical difficulties. So I don't know if I'm even still on. Okay, so my top 5. Of course, I'm going to have Prairie View in there.
That's number 5?
No, okay. You want them in numerical order. Number
Right.
5, I'm gonna have to go with Florida A&M.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to go number 4 with Grambling, my home school. Number 3, I'm gonna have to do Southern. Number 2, of course, Jackson State. And then, of course, my second home, Prairie View A&M, as the number 1. Those are my 5. I see you shaking your head.
That's not on his side. Man, I wouldn't go on video neither if I had to no. Every Grand fan in the country just heard that.
Mm-hmm. I ain't scared. It is look, as we say, you and I both know truth speaks. You got to put in, you can't, this is what it's always funny. You can't go by the past. You got to live with what's going on currently. And of course, and I was just reading it, we're ranked number 1 right now as far as bands of the top 10. So as a recruiter, I go about what's currently in the data, what's currently factual. So, I love my Graham fam, but, I speak it from the truthful hip every day, all day.
But you got to see, you talking about when you say number 1, whose poll is that, or are they going by?
That's what I'm looking up right now, but I'm afraid the computer. I'll definitely look. I'm looking it up now, but I'm afraid I'll do it on the phone while we talking. But anyway,
what is the cost of admission to go to
the
Prairie?
Cost of admission? Good question. Let's get back on track.
Let's go room and board. Plus room and board annually.
Annually, the cost of tuition we're gonna start in state, and I'm rounding them up to the nearest, is going to be $12,000 per semester. For out-of-state students, it's going to be closer to $22,000. Now, this is the beautiful thing about our merit-based scholarship.
$20,000 per semester?
Yeah.
So we're talking about $44,000 a year.
Close, yes. Because when you do it for just the in-state, you're looking at 20, 22.
Dude, that's up there with Howard, 44,000. Okay, we're gonna need some scholarship money now. What is?
Oh yeah, and that's what I'm getting to. Our scholarship program is, and I do say it myself, it's pretty awesome. We do have multiple instances where you can pull up the merit-based scholarships, and of course they're based off of. And let me throw this in there, Vince. We're not test optional. We are not test optional. We are going by GPA, and we are going by standardized test scores. Okay, and I'm just like I said, I'm gonna try to bring these slides.
Dr. Simmons is raising that bar. If you're
Huh?
going to come here, we're going to make sure you're going to leave here.
Yeah. Again, our retention as far as students is pretty good. So we're going to make sure again that once you get in here, we're going to retain you, and we're going to make sure that you stay.
Yeah, our kids are definitely going to need some money for that. Now, what would you say is the premier majors at Prairie View?
Our premier majors, we are one of the top 10 HBCUs that produce the most African-American engineers. We produce the most African-American engineers in our region. We produce the most African-American nurses in our region. In our region, we are the top nursing school, and we're proud to say that one of the top 10 in the HBCU rankings. We are number 1 out of all 105 HBCUs that when students attend Prairie View, okay, and they take advantage of the co-op opportunities, internships opportunities, traveling abroad, they will, and we still hold this number 1 ranking, they will graduate already employed, making the most in their industry.
Hold on. Say that again. I need to hear that. Hear that again. Let me hear that because I like it because dollars to me make sense.
Oh yeah. So again, when students attend and they take advantage of co-op opportunities, internships, as well as our travel abroad programs, they will graduate, if they take care of their business, already employed, making the most in their industry. We are, out of all 105 HBCUs, 6, depending on who's counting, we are the number 1 HBCU in that category. We are the category. And of course, being in the state of Texas, which is, of course, we know the energy state, it is the medical state, again, hence us developing the most African-American engineers in our region, the most nurses African-American in our region. You know, they come out well prepared, even competing with big brother, Texas A&M. And remember where we're at, Vince, Texas A&M Baylor, University of Texas El Paso, Houston, University of Houston, which is about an hour going back into the city of Houston. You remember, we're on the outskirts, northwestern outskirts, as you're heading west, going towards San Antonio or Austin. So we have all those schools that we are competing with, and that's who we hold our measuring stick with. So when it comes to engineers, we produce stellar engineers, we produce stellar nurses, we produce stellar people ready to be employed. And of course, we are the top producers amongst HBCUs and predominantly white institutions, PWIs. We produce the most African-American architects in this nation.
Oh, okay. Now that's a big wait a minute. You made some big claims there, okay? Now, advocate, engineers, I always gave to North Carolina A&T.
Right.
According to you, I've been giving out, excuse the expression, fake news.
Well, no, remember, I didn't say number 1, we're top 10. So, and I give all respect, like you and I both. We're proud products of HBCUs. I'm a proud product of Grambling and Prairie View. A&T is number 1 on the list, but we are included in that top 10 list of producing the most African-American engineers.
You just said in our region.
Yeah, but in this region, remember, North Carolina A&T is not in this region. in this region, meaning from the
You the North
Mississippi.
Carolina A&T of the West.
No, we are Prairie View A&M University.
Okay, I thought I could put that one in. I didn't think you were going to catch that, but that's all right.
So yeah, that means from the Mississippi over, I run nursing, I run engineering, I run architecture, I produce stellar educators, and of course, our business program is awesome. We have an entrepreneurship component in there, and remember the A in agriculture. I produce agriculturalists.
I don't think we got any agriculturists in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Well, you know what? It's
interesting.
So yeah, I mean, we got something going on. It's one of those universities where we're growing. So yeah, we expect the academics from our students to be top notch because we are promoting and we are recruiting that. Our minimum GPA is a 2.8 on a 4.0 unweighted scale. And I like to make sure I let students know. Minimum 2.8 on a 4.0 unweighted scale. You need a minimum of an SAT score of an 800. You need a minimum of an ACT score of a 15.
Okay. All right. I got a 20-year-old. I believe she had like a 21. You could have went to Prairie View, Luke.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
yes, indeed.
But the merit-based scholarships is what I definitely would like to know, because I want to be honest with you. I got a lot of economically challenged students.
Understandable.
You know, some of their parents don't have $44,000.
Right.
So, let me rephrase that. No, I'm not going to say that, because a lot of our parents could find $44,000 to send your child to Duquesne, Chatham, Carlos, and any other PWI here. And so let me say it this way, because I don't want to say, because we do find money to go to these other schools, don't we?
Yes, indeed. Look, more so, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because more so than us HBCUs knowing, Vince, what the cost is.
Right.
Yes, indeed.
So I'm going to go ahead and say this. If you're watching this, don't be afraid to invest in yourself, because I just had a conversation with a student at University Prep. And the first thing they said, well, Uncle Vince, I don't want no debt. And I said, well, so I got news for you. There is no adult walking this earth that is debt free. All right? None.
Right.
You're going to have some type of debt. Now, we are so quick to go ahead and finance that $51,000 Denali, or that $50,000+ Escalade.
Oh, that Escalade is, look, the base sticker on that show is 80 now for that new model. So trust me when I'm telling you, it's 80.
Well, you know, I'm on a certified lot. I'm not on the new. I'm talking about I'm on a certified low mile lot. But they are so quick to, they will without hesitation. And that vehicle is going to depreciate 20% as soon as you drive it off the lot. So when you talk about debt, there's two types of debt. Debts that depreciate, automobile, and a debt that appreciates. That's your education. Property. Right. So, we got to get our students in our mindset that we cannot, you can't be scared to invest in yourself. That's Denise Sinkler. Now, Denise Sinkler, she is definitely Clark Atlanta. Now, Clark Atlanta is up there, and we have sent kids there, and they had matriculated to graduation. So we're not going to say this is impossible. So, but you know the rundown of the merit-based scholarships?
Yeah, the merit-based scholarship, and we have two. Okay, of course, all this information can be discovered, well, not discovered because it's not like you're looking hard, but it's on our site, pvamu.edu, pvamu.edu. We have two scholarships that we consider our merit-based scholarships. So when you apply, and our scholarships start off at a 3.25. Those are our merit-based scholarships. It starts off at a 3.25. That's our presidential scholarship, okay? 3.25 minimum up to a 3.49. 3.25 minimum up to a 3.49. That's the presidential. 3.5 on up to 4.0 is our Regents scholarship. That's our Regents scholarship. So we offer two scholarships. Remember, presidential, and that's going to cover, and I'm trying to pull it up here so that you can see, because of course everybody. Say again.
What's the SAT scores that goes with them?
Your SAT is going to start out with that around your 20 range. Well, I get it mixed up. That's your ACT. Your SAT is going to start out, higher than that, and actually it's going to be around your 1100. Okay, because they've changed it, as well as College Board changed how the scoring goes. And I always want to make sure I tell the students, if you have a high GPA, you have to make sure that your SAT, ACT is comparable. You can't have, and we encounter this every day when I get calls from potential students and their families when they don't qualify for either the presidential or the Regents. It's not because they don't have good grades, but we don't have the good grades with the comparable standardized test scores to match along with it. It can't be a high GPA and the test score be considerably lower. They have to be the same. So for example, if you are a 3.8 student, your standardized test score should be about, on the SAT side, should be about a 12 to a 1300, anywhere in that range, and I'm giving ranges. Your SAT or your SACT, excuse me, needs to be like in the 25 and up for the Regents. So you have to, those numbers, whether it's a 21, a 23, or a 22, they count when it comes to being matched with our scholarship. And that's one thing I try to show the students and the parents. You got to have the matching GPA. So if you have a 3.5 and you have a 1190, 1200, 1210, 1220, you're good. If you have a 3.5 and you have an 1100, that keeps you right there within those ranges. And that's how they're split. GPA, remember, cutoff for the presidential, 3.49, 3.5 and up, Regents. Same thing with the standardized test scores. So you have to make sure, and this is where it's key as advocates for HBCUs, we make sure we get our kids to people that can help them with them test scores, because without that, most students, as you and I both know, they take it, they're a little apprehensive about mentioning it. And I've seen my students' test scores, all they need to do is retake it because they're only off by 10 points.
Right.
10 points, which will kick them up to that next scholarship because they have a 3.6. So it's important to understand that with that investment, you're not doing it and you're thinking of, wow, this is money out the pocket, because the old adage goes, with good grades, you can get a scholarship. The difference between our Regents and presidential, the Regents is what is considered the full ride, and that's the one that's definitely attractive for our out-of-state students, because you're charged with our in-state students a charge, which is roughly 11,900, 12,000 per semester. So it's key for my nieces and nephews in your neck of the woods, Vince, to make sure, again, ACT, SAT, GPA are comparable. Anything 3.5 and up, 25 and up, you pay in-state tuition.
Okay.
You charge with
literally half off.
And see, that's what gets, and that's what literally gets, like you and I were discussing earlier, we have students that'll run off to the PWIs knowing what that cost is. And yeah, you know, I get a lot of them to tell me, well, I've gotten a scholarship. Okay, tell me what that scholarship entails.
Exactly.
That's the key. Yeah, tell me what that scholarship entails. If they're just covering certain costs, multiply that cost by 4 years. And then you still, like you and I both know, you have books and you have tuition and fees. That's where out of state, yeah, you definitely got to earn it if you're going, like the term illustrates, out of state. But if you've worked hard from ninth grade, let's get that straight. Let me dispel the rumor, Vince, to all the nieces and nephews watching and those in PA. Universities, recruiters, admissions, for those of you that are interested in going to college, we start looking, we checking you at ninth grade. That's where your academic stamina needs to begin. Ninth, 10th, and 11th grade is when you need to be balling out. There is no way your senior year, if you hadn't performed ninth, 10th, and 11th grade, you cannot wake up 3 years of work your senior year.
But now this is the part where you and I might fundamentally disagree. And I believe that, you know, I don't believe a standardized test score would trump what a student did in 4 years. Meaning,
True.
if a student did a 3.8 GPA cumulative in 4 years and did a 1050 on an SAT, and in my opinion, let me rephrase that.
Right.
This is my opinion. I don't believe that SAT or ACT measure anything.
I hear you.
No, that's my
I
opinion.
hear you.
Now,
Right. Like I say.
Now, you and I both know.
But
you can get a scholarship within the 3 A's: academic, the arts, and athletics. For my nieces and nephews, if you're not academic and you do have that 2.8 GPA, is there a minimum SAT score for admissions?
Again, when it comes to us, as long as you have that 2.8 and a 15 ACT or 800 SAT, that's what you need to meet to get in. And as I always tell students, and let's make sure we encourage them, once we get you in, we all know statistically you're going to do better. And by the time you graduate, you're excelling. We just have to, as I tell the students, let's get you in. Let's focus on getting you in, because this level.
So what you're telling me is you are slightly higher than the NCAA clearinghouse. Just slightly higher.
Right.
So if you are an athlete and you have the scores for the NCAA clearinghouse, send your huddle over there to Prairie View A&M. But if you a little soft and you're going to need that, man, they hit hard in Texas now. These Texas, they was born and raised with football. These are, look, football's king in Texas.
Yes, it is.
Now, I've seen some, even down when I was in Alabama, I was like, oh, man, he's going to need some cocoa butter on that.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, football is any and everything when it comes to sports. I mean, as I travel around and I go to different school districts, even every year I see where a school has been refurbished, if not totally rebuilt. And the stadium, Vince, makes some of our HBCU stadiums, sadly enough, look bad. And these are high school stadiums.
Oh, yeah. Talking about in Texas?
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, and now, nieces and nephews, if you got a crossover and you got a left hand, you know, Send your tapes for basketball, track and field, baseball, softball. Now, those are the ones I named. What else do you have? Because I know some HBCU have non-traditional sports, like Allen University have wrestling.
Right.
Delaware State have equestrian. Did you know Delaware State had a equestrian team?
I really didn't know, and my brother is the assistant director. I really didn't know they had equestrian, but that's beautiful though. Hampton has what, field hockey? So
and Morehouse, as of 2020, got a polo team.
See,
and polo is not just clothing; it's actually a sport where people.
Right, for those who don't know, for those who don't know,
on top of a horse.
So yeah, and I like it because it's showing that we're breaking those norms. But at Prairie View, we have the traditional sports, and as I always tell students, do like your older cousins did at those universities you just named, Vince. If you want to start a field hockey team, all you need is 9 other your people, and a faculty advisor to start the program. Of course, you want to make sure that you're playing competitively on the intramural level, meet the standards NCAA for it to go competitive in the division. It's not hard because that's what those brothers and sisters had to do with those out of the traditional sports that they're playing at those universities. Because the common question that I get, do we have a swim team? And regardless of what people think, yes, we do swim. And actually I made, a very good career out of it in high school in Detroit swimming. So
when I was in the Marine Corps, I wanted to be in the Marine Corps and not know how to swim because we are the Department of the Navy, not even the Department of Defense. We are the Department of the Navy.
Yes,
so
I know how to swim. I'm right there with you. Denise asked, are our tests culturally biased? I'm gonna let you handle that question. Because of course we both have our opinions, and I'm sure they're matching. The politically correct way, if you look at the history, Denise, when you look up the history of why the SAT and the ACT were founded, they were founded because they did state that our students coming from our culture weren't college ready. But what they found on a broad scale was that across the board, our culture, the white culture, a lot of the students, of course, with America's academics, a lot of them aren't quite college ready. So are they culturally biased? You can say they are if you read the history, but now since across the board, you can see where the different cultures of students are struggling in some of the same aspects. You can answer that the most politically correct way. But historically, when you read up, that was one of the things that they did to make sure that, kids were going to college what they deemed to be ready.
I want to leave that in the hands of the sociologists. Because my answer would have been a whole lot raw. Hell yeah.
So, and that's why I really push and encourage the students in some of the programs that I'm involved here. Make sure, and I tell the parents, our people all the time, as soon as you can get access, and after you've had that family conversation, we're going to start talking family now, Vince. Once you know that your student legitimately wants to go to school, because we touched on this Sunday.
Right.
A lot of students don't want to go to college, family. So you have to discuss, that's one of those topics now that's almost taboo because parents are making their students go to college. Family, discuss with your student what their dreams, what their aspirations are, because you forcing our nieces and nephews to college, to these situations where they're going to lose 3 things that they can't get back. And those 3 things, as I always share with them, is time, money, and effort. You want to make sure that with that investment, as we just mentioned, is going to be worth it. So I always advocate with my organizations such as yours, Vince, and other family members who are trying to help kids to come to school, start getting your students acclimated to standardized testing. If they have for courses in middle school, yes, 8th, 9th grade, definitely definitively based off of whatever King's English and whatever book you are reading. Start getting my nieces and nephews, our nieces and nephews, prepped for the tests. 8th grade, get them acclimated so they can see the rigor that's involved. 9th grade, as they become more acclimated and structuralized to the test. 10th grade, okay, it's time to get ready to walk the ball, like you said, Vince, with your left hand if you're going to be a hoop star.
Right.
11th grade, you should be superiorly acclimated to it while it still has the prefix pre in front of it. So that when you're applying for me and the other family members, when it counts your senior year and we're wavering and this college board changes the equivalency of the test to the GPA every year.
And they will.
And they will.
As we are doing better at the exam, it will be changed.
So you want to make sure.
I invited you onto the show if you want to come on. And you too, Mo, I did the same thing. If you want to come on, come on.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
also,
you want to make sure that you are getting the children the test prep they need. As taxpayers, as parents, we're paying taxes to our education systems in our cities, and they're supposed to supply and offer test prep. Make sure that your student is getting tutoring and test prep courses to align them, to prepare them if college is a choice that they've made, to make sure they are prepared. And with those good grades from that adequate preparation and excelling at it, you don't have to worry, as I tell students, about the cost because it's going to be covered. Your hardest part is making sure you get ready.
That's right. That is absolutely right. Now, you know, we could go, listen, I could go to a parent-teacher meeting at one of our high schools, right? And I don't have any kids at none of these high schools. And there might be 1 or 2 people there. We got to do better than that. We definitely, I mean, just like I'm telling the students, don't be afraid to invest in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
We, as parents, as community members, or just as adults, we have to invest in our students. And investment don't necessarily mean money. We got to invest in time.
Exactly.
You know, we definitely artistics. Now, let me ask you. Now, I have students that may have the 2.8. I have students that definitely have the 800 SAT. We talk about athletics. What about now? I have some students that do know how to play that trombone, that tuba.
Right.
Now, will I be able to arrange from Pittsburgh an online audition to join the Prairie View the Marching
Storm, baby.
Storm.
Since you are my brother, and since I do have a relationship with Dr. Zachary, the band director, I can set that up for you.
All right, we definitely want. All right, I tell you what, and also, listen, we want to definitely I know one thing COVID taught us: the world is a lot smaller than we thought.
Boy. Boy,
I can literally get you into a classroom from your office there at Prairie View. And we can definitely you can do your presentation, but your presentation is I think is more fitting for a Zoom call more so than StreamYard.
Yeah, because we found out that technically it just didn't pop. So yeah.
No, not for StreamYard. That's for Zoom.
Yeah.
So, and what about for choir? Money for that, right?
It's money for that. Might not be as much because for one thing, choirs at our HBCU, some of our HBCUs, as you know, are known for their choirs.
Like the Jubilee Singers.
Right. So choir scholarships, that again, I don't answer questions I don't know. I'll definitely have to check on that one. I will check on choir scholarships as it does pertain to the arts at Prairie. That's an awesome question. I will definitely check.
And what about
theater? That I can check on as well. We do have a theater aspect, but again, that like so many others, they're rebuilding. You know, our Charles Gilpin players historically has always produced stellar performances, and that's something that we're growing back to competitive contention. So I can check on both the choir and theater when it comes to Prairie. I can get that information right to you. And actually, while we're on that, let me show you something that I want all of my students to make sure that they get a good hold of. And you can see in the background, I got my library. I want to make sure.
Those books look like they've been cracked too. Those ain't decorations.
Oh yeah, I read, and I'm gonna find the book that I want them to look into that is key for their academic success. And bear with me while I find it, because I think it's an excellent read. I might have given it away. Because I do tend to give books away because I carry them with me, and I'm gonna find it.
Here now. Once you
when we set up the next Zoom, Vince, I will have the book with me because I got a few copies in my office.
And I can't wait to go ahead and put this with our School of Performing Arts, and also with our Obama, which is a baccalaureate program. And I know there's some musicians at these schools, as well as they got the academic, they meet the academic requirement.
Oh yeah, we can definitely set that up. That is definitely not a problem, because as a recruiter, and you and I both spoke, of course, as advocates and products, I'm not in the business of not getting my nieces and nephews to the house.
Oh yeah.
And as far reaching as my reach is in connections and relationships with other HBCU families, I can help you get into any other one as well.
And that's the purpose of shows like this, because I know Alabama State. Oh, Rosa. I know Alabama State is for everybody.
Right.
I know that. I know Prairie is not for everybody. But I am willing to bet you that one of these HBCUs is perfect for somebody.
And I think that's the word, basing off of what we spoke on Sunday as well. That's what I think the word we have to spread, Vince, to our alumni groups and to parents and students. Don't become so fixated on the big box, big name schools that you're not looking at the culture. Each one of the families has their own culture. The beautiful thing when our forefathers and mothers established these schools is they had us in mind. Okay.
Exactly.
So I always tell students that, say you don't have the 2.8 minimum. Okay. One, we're not going to judge you. I'm not going to judge you as a recruiter, because I understand we're both coming from the same culture when it comes to how we excel academically. Far be it for me to even judge where you're coming from. And if you've had a hard time, hey, I hope you learned from it. I'm going to give you a hug, dap you up. If you're my nephew, give you a good, strong hug. If you're one of my nieces, and we're going to move it forward. If I can get you into Philander Smith, I will do that. If I can get you into Huston Tillotson, I can do that. If I can get you into Grambling, I can do that. If I can get you into FAMU, Xavier, Dillard, I got you at Alabama State. It's a true family environment, and that's what our people have lost recognition of. Just because you might not make it.
We might compete, but we're what?
Family.
Family, right.
Every day, all day. We might compete, and it's not competing like PWIs do. It's that family competition, because trust me, when I go to my friend's house this holiday, trust me, Bayou Classic has had houses separated. I got good partners who went to Grambling, wives are from Southern, and vice versa.
Oh, man, y'all going to pepper my gumbo, ain't y'all?
Look here, you want to talk about a comedic environment?
Man, that gumbo going to be good and peppered.
And so that's what I do when I can't get to the game. I hang out with the family. But when you go to the game, you get to see and feel all right. Yeah, you see the rivalry, you feel a little family tension in the air. But at the end of the day, it's family. And so
we got 3 students from Pittsburgh at Grambling. Man, when they came home during the holiday break their freshman year, You know, they got
Mhm.
real brand new on me. Real brand new. You know.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
Man, but I will tell you this about Grambling, my brother. One thing I could say about Grambling, you know, and I'm going to try to say this with as much love as possible. At least they got the colors right.
Look, I'll leave that when we do another one, and I don't have the work shirt on when I got my black and gold, because my blood is 3 colors: it's black, gold, and purple. And I get the business all the time from my Grambling family. So yeah, we'll wrap on that on the next one. But yeah, and that's one thing that I'm trying.
You could not tell. I invited her on here to come on. She didn't come on. She must got the she might got the bonnet on because it is 9:30.
Right,
you know,
right.
Sometimes our sisters, after they get hung, team bonnet. So
right,
she's
right.
like, I'm not getting on this.
Yeah.
But she is definitely Clark, and she is so. I had never seen. I thought I rode hard for Alabama State. She ride hard for Clark Atlanta. Hard for Clark Atlanta. In fact, I think she's down in Atlanta more than she in Pittsburgh every time I look at her Facebook page.
Right. Yeah. See, and that's where again I get the business because I ride hard for both of them. And being in school, I'm about to be split 3 ways, Vince, because I'm attending Delaware State now, getting my 2nd graduate degree. So yeah, I'm a Tiger, I'm a Panther, and about to be a Hornet. That's a funny looking animal. That's a funny looking animal.
One Hornet. There is only one.
I can dig it. But yeah, that's one thing we do have to let students know. And for all your listeners, you have 105 choices. Don't get caught up in the big box schools, okay? Because, and again, this is where as a culture, we don't have those conversations with our students. Parents, have that discussion. Find out if your student really wants to go. You know if your student is college material. Let's just keep it real, because when I talk to them at these events, they tell me what's really on their mind and their heart, and they tell it to me in a form, Vince, that I can tell that conversation is not had at home.
Right. And
it's so
hold on. I need you to define. We want to define college material. He's not saying that they got to have a high GPA or a high test score to be college material. I have personally seen our students with a GPA south of a 2.0, and they messed around and graduated with a 3.9.
Happens all the time. Happens all the time. Let's break down to them, Vince, what college ready is.
Right.
College ready, family, is knowing the academic acumen that your student possesses. Again, we do not judge as recruiters. We're going to send your student to the best environment where he or she will dwell. Not meaning that they have to come to me with a 5.0 GPA and a 30 ACT and a 1800 SAT. College ready, having the mind state, the stability to know that academically the course is a rigor and they're willing to commit themselves to proper time management and study time, yet be committed enough that they won't get distracted, and the distractions will come at this level, that they will commit to doing what they are there for 4 years, 8 semesters, however you want to shake the stick, to get jobs done so that they can graduate. That's the key term. It's a difference when you speak to someone in a conversation and they tell you, I went to Morehouse, I went to Stillman. That's a whole nother conversation. But when they can say honestly and confidently, I went and graduated from Morehouse. I graduated from Stillman. Then you know. So you have to prepare them in that aspect. Can they do the work? And you know that when they're coming home through those years, 3rd grade through 9th. You know that because the foundation of it is you. The foundation of a college sound ready student, and they don't want to talk about events.
No,
It starts at home. It starts at home. Trust me, helping your student get a good homework environment. And again, we don't judge. We all know about our culture, but it's a certain time and a certain place where the student needs to be in an environment where they can produce. So again, as Brother Vince said, it's not that you have to have a skyrocketing GPA or skyrocketing SAT, ACT scores. No, you just have to be.
You know, HBCUs out there too.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
No doubt.
So when your promise coach, and you know who I'm talking about too, when your promise coach tell you need to go to a CCAC, let them know that your Uncle Vince told you to tell them to kiss your ass because you don't have to go to a community college, all right? Because we got 4-year HBCUs that can definitely help you excel. If you are struggling, we got 8 developmental HBCUs that will put you in a summer bridge program and will help you prepare for your actual college courses.
Mm-hmm.
We got HBCUs that have 24-hour tutoring. Now, that's something I had learned, and I think Grambling had that.
Mm-hmm.
Tutoring on schedule because everybody don't keep the same hours, but
exactly
right. So, and some dormitories have study rooms with dormitories that are absolutely quiet.
Yeah, ours do definitely. And the beautiful thing, like you said, and this is what I want to let people know, when it comes to a school, definitely check out the summer bridge programs. Hence the key, bridge. Because even Prairie View, we have a summer bridge program. So again, due diligence parentally for our nieces and nephews. Base your talents on your student. Find 4 schools. Check those schools out. And it's a must family to visit the schools. I always give the program to my students. If you have had that discussion, 9th grade, you start out with a list of schools based off of the 3 desires. Let me give our fingers right. 3 passions that your student has, because more oftentimes than not, that's what they're going to school for. Their degree is going to be based off of one of those passions.
Absolutely.
Find the schools that has those 3 passions. So you should have roughly about 9th grade year, 10 HBCUs on deck that you're looking at via the website. We still have virtual tours. We still have virtual things that we're doing at Prairie View. When you send your information to me or when I'm at these events and you fill out our electronic form, you're automatically put on our listing. And when we have parent chats, counselor chats, adult chats when it comes to transferring for my transfer students, we cover the gamut on disseminating information, any and everything purple and gold. You start becoming part of the community right then. 10th grade year, you need to start planning trips, your 10th and 11th grade year family, to get your student to those schools. By the time the summer of the 10th grade year passes, you should be down to 5 schools going into your junior year. Let me get my hand right on the camera. 5 schools. So you've eliminated 5 schools. These 5, you continue to keep more in-depth information about the schools. You visit them again if you hadn't initially done so, or if this is your first time out, visit the schools. Half of the decision is going to be made by you going personally to visit the school, because this thing here takes so much away. And we all have learned, Vince, that virtual fatigue is real. Trust me, I haven't done as many virtual events as I thought I could, but I've exceeded that amount. And trust me, when I tell you, I understand as a graduate student, so I'm a student with our nieces and nephews, this thing here, boy, it will wear you out. So I understand it. In our culture, we are a personal people. We reach out, we touch each other, we hug each other, we kiss each other on the cheek, we give each other dap. That's just our culture. So you have to get your student around her older cousins to see how they are in the environment. Trust and believe, family. That goes a long way, and that's half of the battle of the decision. The other half is cost, and if they have that degree program. So by the time your student is in the 12th grade with all of the pre-SAT, ACT done, and they've reached that acumen that when they take it this time as a senior, and it's no sweat, because they've been practicing it, you don't have anything to worry about. Then you apply, and those 3 schools that you've now whittled it down to, if you visit again, because schools like Prairie, we're advancing. We're developing new programs. We're having new facilities built. We change, and you want to see that. And that's a key note, Vince, and I'm sure you've touched it. Family, make sure you visit your school. Because one thing you want to know is that your schooling is advancing. If you visit a school and you don't see any caution tape, you don't see any Tonka toys, real life around, if you don't hear any noise from jackhammers and people talking, you don't see helmets and fluorescent vests, you might want to reconsider, because that school is not advancing.
Absolutely. But that don't make it a bad school now, okay? Because that school, no.
Right.
And that school could be perfect for you. Okay? Because you could get what you need from that school, graduate, and then advance to one of those, as you call it, a big box school. I just had a conversation with a student today that sat there and looked me right dead in the face and said, I don't know what I want to study. I said, what is your interest? I don't know.
Wow. Yeah, I get that quite often.
I said, all right, then, tell me this. What are you mad about? Because whatever you're angry about is what you're passionate about.
Yes, indeed.
And the young man said, I'm angry about being poor and broke. Sound like business to me. Sound like finance to me. Sound like economics to me.
Mm-hmm.
And also, these 4 years at these HBCUs will be the only time you will not face any discrimination.
Mm-hmm.
This will be the only time when you will have an opportunity to be educated on your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And this will be the time when you be able to wake up and realize, I am not a second-class citizen.
Yes, indeed.
And that's why when you see adults, I think we're different. The ones that have the brothers and sisters that have the HBCU background versus the one that have the PWI background, we don't feel like we have to assimilate.
No, we don't. No, we don't. Because that's the strength that's in us, because we're getting the proper grounding from our forefathers and mothers' foundation that they set up. And if you notice, every time we speak to somebody that our family members who didn't go to an HBCU, what is the first thing they say, Vince? I wish I would have went.
Yes. I had this, I'm not going to say the organization's name, but I did a presentation at one of the nonprofit organizations, and it's a Black-ran nonprofit organization. And this woman tried to contradict her PWI experience along with one of the HBCU slides. Every slide, well, on a PWI perspective, well, man, if you don't shut up, well, we were something like it. No, you wasn't. Your Black Student Union was not a pimple on the ass of a HBCU. Not even close. Man, shut up. But listen, we went over our hour. So,
well, did we?
Yes, we did. Look, Uncle StClair said he is going to help us to do some online audition for the peer review marching storm. So if you play that snare, if you play that bass drum, trombone, saxophone, clarinet, flute, even the bongos. No, they don't have a bongos in a marching band. I was joking on that one.
Oh my goodness.
But if the Lord's willing and the creek don't rise, we will see you next week on Tuesday.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you for
Yes,
tuning in.
indeed. Yes, indeed. So again, we'll set it